his company, this country as they see fit, out of pure patriotism and loyalty to the Constitution, is, again, we're back to that point of lying or delusional, because it doesn't track. It'd be very difficult to look at some of the things that the CFR has suggested, that the Trilateral Commission has directed this nation to do, and try to make claims that it is in the public interest, it is in the interest of the United States as a republic, because it's not. Anyway, back to the Q drops. So, that was Preet Bharara. So we're going to go to the next Q drop, which is 1371. And there's a picture, and clearly, I recommend everybody check out QAnonPost.com, because that is where you're going to be looking at what I'm looking at right now. And it's a snip, and it's of Abraham Lincoln, Honest Abe, and it says, yes, he really said this, and it's from bestpoliticalquotes.com, and it's an old-timey picture of Honest Abe, and it says, "We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who would pervert the Constitution." And that is, man, that's never been more true. But to put that into perspective, you could say that at any point over the last 30 years. You could say that has never been more true. Because over the last 30 years, we have been steadily getting further and further away from the Constitution, away from constitutional protections, everything like that. I think the first one, the first law that went into effect that I was really like, what the fuck? Really? Was seatbelt laws. Because do seatbelts save lives? Yes. At this point, it's incontrovertible. You can't say that seatbelts don't save lives. However, in the United States, we all have the same rights, the same privileges, but at the same time, the same responsibilities as citizens. And along with the rights that you gain from the Constitution, or that, according to the Constitution, are self-evident and are God-given rights, but are defined within the Constitution. It's a basic structure of libertarianism. I can do whatever I want so long as I'm not harming someone else. I mean, that is the general concept of the United States. That's how it was meant to... That's how we were meant to evolve as a nation. As long as I don't step on your rights, as long as I don't overstep, then you have no right to tell me what to do. You have no right to tell me that I need to be safe with my own well-being. And I have no right to do that to you. And that's something that gets missed. And it has steadily become a bigger issue over time. Because after the automobile stuff became, excuse me, the automobile stuff was kind of the first to fall. It was the first to be enacted and to test the waters in some of these things. Because driving in this country is not a right, it's a privilege. Having a driver's license is a privilege. You can argue that driving should be a right, but at the same time, if you can't argue that everyone is a trained and acceptable driver, which I just don't think that you can do, then you can't argue that it's a right. You can't argue that being allowed to, traverse the nation via the highways that we all pay for is just an inherent right as an American. I think it's phooey. It's horse caca. But anyway. So after the seatbelt laws came the insurance laws. And that one I thought was a big bullshitter, which is, when that went into healthcare and Obamacare, which that is still my single biggest issue with Barack Obama. It will always be my biggest issue with Barack Obama, is not just him, but the Congress who went ahead and basically said, "Oh, we know better than you. We know that you need to have health care." Well, no. I mean, on a personal level, I don't trust healthcare professionals. If you've ever, well, let's just say within the last 5 years, anyway. When's the last time you went to the doctor with, and you were sick, man? You had something going on. When's the last time that there was just this massive battery of tests, and it was incontrovertible? It was just boom. They had it nailed down, precision. What was wrong? I don't know that I've ever had that happen once throughout my life. And that being said, especially if you're talking about mental health. Mental health is a complete stab in the fucking dark. So, it's not like you can test someone's serotonin or dopamine or epinephrine or norepinephrine levels just as a matter of a blood test. It doesn't work like that. It's it's quite a bit more involved, and it never fucking happens. If you go in to get put on an antidepressant, I can almost guarantee you, because there may be cases where this may be wrong, but most of the time, it's we'll try this. Okay, well, what if this doesn't work? Well, then we'll try something else. Okay. And you're a fucking doctor? Wait, what? You're high. And then on top of that, I mean, I've seen people both close to me and people who were simple acquaintances who have gotten locked into just absolute an unbelievable debt that is just insurmountable because of medication, because of doctors, because of hospitalizations, and I'm still a firm believer that true universal health care in this country, in the United States, would not only, now it would have to be, you would have to hold corporations accountable, and you would have to put very strict regulations on corporations. You wouldn't even have to cut the pay of the average doctor. But yes, there are specialists that, I'm sorry, you wouldn't be making $500,000 a year as a physician in most cases, which I don't think most doctors make at this point. But anytime you have corporate influence, anytime that corporations get involved in any industry, the costs go through the roof. And the reason the costs go through the roof is because you have yet another layer of profit that needs to be maintained and grown. That is, it is a corporate mandate. It is legally what corporations have to do, is put profit first. Anyway, all right. That's my spiel on the degradation of constitutional conformity of the United States over the last 30 years. Anyway, so following up that quote by Honest Dave, Q says, "They knew this day would come. Evil everywhere, corruption everywhere. We fight, we the people." Q. Now, I love, that's one thing I will say, is if Q is real and not a psyop and not somebody with delusions of grandeur sitting apart from the actual positions that they're claiming to be in, But if Q is actually legit, I mean, somebody right there, right on the cusp of power, right, able to someone or some group, very much in the know of all things in the Trump administration, then Q is not the typical we the people. But yet, Q identifies as one of us, one of the people. And that is how government is supposed to be, even up to the presidency. The president was meant to be essentially the top representative, the pinnacle of Americans. Politicians were never meant to be career politicians. Politics was a way to serve your country, to serve your fellow man, and to better the nation for your fellow man, women, children, everything. I'm not being sexist. Man is in mankind. You know what I'm saying. But I do love that that Q directly identifies with we the people. I think that's fantastic. I think that it very much personalizes the message. All right, so Crumb, number 1372, starts out with an Anon post. Says, it's apparent to us, Anons, what crimes Preet is complicit in. I don't know how these people keep thrusting themselves into the spotlight when they are pure evil. Okay, to which Q replies, yes.
Will allow me to retort.
What do you notice? They all drop hints they are considering future elected positions. Why? Claim interference? Attack on opposition party? Protection? Can you serve from jail? Q. Well, good publicity, bad publicity. It's all publicity, right? I mean, because realistically, we have some, and it's not just the Clinton folk that have been downright illegal and criminal in this country. I mean, you look into Bill Clinton all the way back to Attorney General of Arkansas, and yeah, try to find out all the shit he did as Attorney General. You can't, because it's all sealed. I was amazed to find that out. And then Clinton Cash. Check out Clinton Cash. It is a great documentary. It will definitely open your eyes to what's happened with William and Hillary there, and what they're all about. But so the track record in this country of elite and politically connected actually being held accountable for their actions is not great. It's fucking not great at all. And if it were, I mean, look at Vietnam. Vietnam as just an example. Okay, so Nixon, he was impeached for Watergate and blah, blah, blah. Has anyone ever actually been made to pay the piper for the fact that we were fucking lied to get us into that shitty, I don't even know what you call it. You can't call it a war because it wasn't a war. Certainly wasn't a skirmish. It was just this unbelievable. I mean, it was just it was a cover-up for fucking CIA drug running. And it certainly wasn't the only one. Why do we still have a war on drugs in this country? Is it just that those who like to claim the moral high ground still want to say, oh, drugs are bad? Well, okay, so I want to say this about marijuana. Marijuana is not a gateway drug. It's just not. Marijuana is the first step